It's a brand new day for Spider-Man as Peter Parker returns to the friendly neighborhood.
Look! Up in the sky! It's Deadsville Hero Talk!
Greetings, hero fans. Welcome to Deadsville Hero Talk. Today's episode, we are going to do a quick spoiler-free review of Spider-Man Brand New Day, and then we are going to dive into spoilers. And I'm going to give you 5 things I liked and 5 things I didn't like about the movie. Before I get to spoilers, I will give you plenty of warning, so if you haven't seen Spider-Man Brand New Day yet, you can listen up until the warning, and then if you don't want anything spoiled, pause the podcast, go check out the movie, then come back and listen to the rest for the spoilers. Before we get into it, a little bit about me. I am Deadsville's Ronin James. I have been a stuntman and stunt coordinator for over 20 years. You've seen me in some of the biggest Hollywood blockbusters and maybe some of the cheapest no-budget schlockbusters if you're unlucky. Yeah, I've done it all, and I've worked in a bunch of superhero movies as well, including things like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Netflix The Punisher, Amazon's The Tick. I was a stunt double on Gotham and much more. So yes, I like to think that I bring an interesting perspective from behind the scenes here to the podcasting realm. A lot of times here on Deadsville Hero Talk, I will have a co-host. Sometimes it'll just be me flying solo with a quick in and out review. And that's probably what this is going to be. I'm going to make this a quick one. I've already done my original first take out of theater review. So you can check that out now wherever you stream podcasts. Speaking of, make sure you like, subscribe, ding the bell if you're on YouTube. You can find Deadsville Hero Talk and our sister show, Deadsville Horror Talk, everywhere you stream podcasts, as well as all the social medias like TikTok and YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all those fun places. We are also now on The Fang. If you are on the new app, The Fang, you can check us out there, Deadsville Horror Talk. And we also have a Patreon, Deadsville Productions, where you can check out Deadsville Horror Talk, Deadsville Hero Talk, and all of our content, including our Amityville Barbie versus the Evil Deados short film. You can go to Patreon. There's a free membership. There's also paid tiers. You have to be in one of the paid tiers to check out Amityville Barbie. But you get a whole bunch of stuff, including this podcast, completely ad-free on Patreon with a free membership. So be sure to follow us and join us on Patreon. We will have a Discord server too, where we will have discussions. And shout out to our Patreon followers and subscribers now. We often do, well, we started doing fan reviews, or Patreon subscriber reviews, I should say. The subscribers get to post their reviews on our social medias, and we try and do once a month, do all of our paid subscribers' reviews, read them if they line up with the same movie that we're doing. So, lots of fun stuff over on Patreon. You can check that out now, Deadsville Productions. All right, let's get into Spider-Man Brand New Day. And this is a 2026 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character Spider-Man, produced by Columbia Pictures, Marvel Studios, Pascal Pictures, and distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing. It is the 38th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the 4th film in the MCU Spider-Man film series, following Spider-Man No Way Home in 2021. The film was directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, written by Chris McKenna and Eric Summers. Tom Holland stars as Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, alongside Zendaya, Sadie Sink, Jacob Batalon, John Bernthal, Florence Pugh, Trammell Tillman, Marissa Tomei, and Mark Ruffalo. In the film, Peter anonymously protects New York City as the hero Spider-Man and investigates a powerful new threat while his superpowers undergo a surprising and potentially dangerous evolution. So there's the basic information for Spider-Man Brand New Day. And yeah, let's get into where this picks up. I mean, obviously, this is the fourth movie in what, usually we do trilogies, but with the way the last movie ended, where Peter Parker and Doctor Strange made everybody forget who Spider-Man was, or that Spider-Man was Peter Parker. They all forgot about Peter Parker. He also lost Aunt May, and he's in a really bad place when this movie starts off. So we kind of needed something to bring him back to the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man that we all know and love. We couldn't just leave him out there in limbo. So yeah, it was kind of a needed fourth installment, I felt like. Usually, the trilogy's good, and then they do a reboot. That seems to be the thing. Do 3, move on, reboot it with a new actor. But yeah, fourth one for Tom Holland and Zendaya here. And yeah, like I said, well warranted, because the way they left him hanging in the last one, they needed to do something. And this one starts out, and Peter's just, Peter's kind of non-existent. It's all Spider-Man in this movie. So he's very much, it's been 4 years after the last movie, so he's been doing just Spider-Man things and not having a social life as Peter Parker. So we kind of see that in the trailer, and it emphasizes it in the film itself. So I'm not going to get into any more than that as far as the story goes before I get into the trailers, the spoiler section, I should say. Anything in the trailer is fair game to talk about in the no spoiler section, but there's a lot of this movie that you really can't talk about until you get to spoilers, including the villain and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to just go through a quick spoiler-free review here. I dug the movie. I had a really good time with it. I felt like it was that I was watching Spider-Man go back to his roots. I appreciated the fact that he went back to, a street level style hero instead of always, being these Avengers level threats, these world ending threats all the time with all the superhero movies. It's always the end of the world. I enjoyed having just the street level Spider-Man back. I will say it was very long. It was really long at 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's 2 hours and 25 minutes, actually, it says here on IMDb. It's too long. But I get it. There's a lot to do here. Let's see. I'm just going to jump to score because I really want to get to the spoiler section. Like I said, you can read my spoiler-free review on my Letterboxd or on any of my social media sites, Deadsville Ronin. I'm giving it a 7.5 out of 10. While it was an enjoyable movie and I had a good time and I enjoyed a lot of aspects of it, there was also a lot of kind of generic and predictable storytelling. Now, part of that is because of how number 3 ended. You kind of know that we have to get back to the Peter Parker that we know and love. So we know where we're going. It's just a matter of how we get there. And it takes a really long time to get there. There are fun parts of the journey to get back to the friendly neighborhood, and there are some depressing parts of the journey. And then there are some parts that just leave you scratching your head. And there's a twist and a reveal, and there was a spoiler out off of a red carpet that wound up being true. Spoilers on the spoiler that was out there, in case you don't know already. I'm not going to say what the spoiler was or what happened. We'll talk about that in a minute when I jump to spoilers. But yeah, 7.5. I felt like the movie's at a bit of a disadvantage, having to come from a really dark place and tell this story of how this guy finds his happy place and his friends and his group again, and finds his circle. And his, there's a lot of themes of friendship and support staff and all that kind of stuff in here. Having your support group, having your friend group, and what happens when you don't have it. And there's a lot of relatable stuff in there that I think that a lot of people will be able to connect with, especially, people that work a lot, people that are kind of loners or kind of like dedicate themselves to something so much that they lack a social life. I know how that can be. Believe me, I've spent 20 years in stunts, and it feels like I just lived stunts for 20 years. You know, most of that time was just nothing but eating, breathing, sleeping, training, hustling, working when I was lucky, just stunts. So I get it. And I know a lot of people can relate to where Peter is in this story, and it's a journey to get back there. And we're going to have trauma, of course, but there were a lot, like I said, question marks and some things, some creative choices that I really had some problems with. Some things they decided to do in this that I was like, okay, I guess that's what we're doing. And then there was some stuff that they did that I was just like, this is great. This is awesome. I really appreciate that they're doing this. So, yeah, it was a mixed bag. I definitely enjoyed the movie, though. And a 7.5 score is pretty decent. So, right now on Rotten Tomatoes, the Tomatometer has it at a 90%, and that's the critics. And the popcorn meter is a whopping 98%. So fans absolutely love this movie. A lot more than I did. And I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. And I'm going to get to why in the spoiler section. So hang on. We're getting there. Couple things. The critics' consensus on Rotten Tomatoes. Spinning a web of spectacular set pieces together with mature emotional stakes and Tom Holland's soulful performance, Brand New Day is a promising reset that portends Spidey will remain sticky on the big screen for years to come. All right. Yeah, fair enough. Tom Holland is amazing in it. The actors are all really good in it. And I mean, I know I might catch some slack for this. Probably the weakest part is Zendaya, who she doesn't really do a whole lot. She's got maybe one or two scenes where she's pretty active, but she's not in a whole lot of the movie. And when she is, she's kind of one-dimensional until, something happens. So, she's probably the weakest point. The rest of the cast is so good. I mean, you bring in Bernthal and Ruffalo. Sadie Sink does a really good job here. I'm not going to say who she is yet, but we'll get there. Even though if you could go read IMDb, I'm sure it says who she is. And the spoilers are all over already, and memes and everything. But we're going to jump to spoilers. Let's see. All right, so I'll read one of these reviews from Glenn Weldon of NPR. Brand New Day is missing something essential. By spotlighting the fracturing of our core trio, the film makes us wallow in it. There's so much heartbreak, we lose the heart. There is a lot, man. It's a very depressing movie at the beginning. Aside from some really good fan service. I'll say that. That's all I'm going to say without giving spoilers. So it's pretty hard, sad and depressing when we find Peter at the beginning of this, and what else do we have here? Hollywood Reporter Anupama Chopra says the film is consistently watchable, if not riveting. So there's your two different points from Rotten Tomatoes. But yes, it's certified fresh. 90% from critics, 98% from the fans. So, I guess let's do a quick. I mean, we don't even really need to go through much more of the cast. We all know who this cast is. I will say Destin Daniel Cretton. Solid job directing. The action in here is really good. Let's see. He is best known for Shanghai and the Legend of the Ten Rings. He's the writer on that one. And he's been a writer on a bunch of things. And producer. Director. He's done some. Yeah, okay. All right, so he's the director on Wonder Man, which just recently got canceled, sadly. I enjoyed the Wonder Man series. He was the director on American Born Chinese, which was another, was a TV series. And I know friends that have watched it. I haven't watched it yet, but pretty critically acclaimed. Shanghai and the Legend of the Ten Rings for Marvel. I enjoyed that one for the most part. Could have done without the whole comic relief of Awkwafina. She kind of gets on my nerves. That her whole shtick. I'm just not a fan of her per se, but I really enjoyed the movie, her aside. And his direction was good in it. He knows how to do action, or he knows how to bring in the right people to do action. Because I will say, I read somewhere where he brought in the stunt team, and Tom Holland, and he sat down with the stunt coordinators and the stunt team, and they actually broke out the PlayStation Insomniac Spider-Man video games, and went over some of the fight choreography and finishing moves and incorporated that into the fight choreography in the movie. So when you watch Spider-Man Brand New Day, if you played the Insomniac PlayStation video games, Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 for PlayStation 4 and 5, you are going to recognize some of the fight moves, some of the finishing moves, and some of the stuff that are in these action set pieces. And it's pretty cool. They do a really good job. That was one of the things I really liked about it. So, all right, that said, we know our cast already, and I don't want to get too much into them because then it kind of spoils some things too. So, at this point, we are going to jump to spoilers. Hero fans, now is the time to pause the podcast if you haven't seen Spider-Man Brand New Day, and you should have. It's killing at the box office right now. Let me see if there's box office report. Let's see. So Spider-Man Brand New Day beats Avengers Endgame's box office record. Spider-Man beat the Avengers at the box office. Brand New Day broke the Avengers Endgame record for the biggest North American opening weekend with $360 million in ticket sales from theaters in the US and Canada, according to Sony Pictures on Monday. So, yes, that is quite the opening weekend domestically for Spider-Man, Marvel, Sony, everybody involved. Congratulations. Breaking records. And I know they broke a record for the opening, the preview night, the Thursday night, which is when I went and saw it. That night broke a record with like 70 million or 76 million alone in Thursday night ticket sales. And I went to see it Thursday early in the afternoon, and I saw it in 4DX, except my 4DX chair wasn't working. So that might have had some influence on, my overall enjoyment of the movie. I'm going to go back and see it again in 4DX. So I have said in previous reviews, I reserve the right to come back and change my score after seeing it in 4DX with the full moving chair experience, because all I got was the water sprayed on me and the wind blown at me, and some smells. I did not get the full movement of the chair, and I was missing it when we were swinging through the city and in first person view, and the fight scenes were happening and all, and I was just like, the chair's not moving. This is fucking disappointing. So I still tried to keep an open mind though. I'm still going to go over, the qualms that I had with the movie don't have a whole lot to do with the chair's lack of movement. So, all right, let's get into spoilers. Pause now or forever have it spoiled.
Holy heads up! It's spoiler time!
So, like we talked about, the world has forgotten who Peter Parker is. He's anonymously protecting New York City. He's distanced himself from everybody he knows, but he's still keeping track of them. He's still stalking them on social media and watching their Facebook or Instagram posts and all that kind of stuff. So we have a tank rampaging through the city. Driver has been telepathically possessed and hops from person to person to help. Oh yeah, so yeah, Mac Gargan, an enhanced criminal Parker previously captured, to escape. So yes, Gargan is being transported. I also had this question about, and I like the Scorpion's design overall, but where's his helmet? Why is he not wearing a helmet? I mean, if he's got his whole stuff on, he should have his helmet too, right? I don't understand why they never give these guys the helmets in some of these movies. They always want to show the actors' faces. I get it. But the helmet looks cool. I wanted to see the cool helmet. All right, moving on from that. So let's see. So yeah, Gargan escapes, and Parker inquires with the White Widow, Yelena Belova, who makes her surprise cameo in here. She was a very nice surprise seeing Florence Pugh in this make a cameo, and pops up a couple times throughout to kind of give Spidey some intel. And really great scene. What I really enjoyed about the scene, and like I said in the previous segment, the spoiler-free section, I really enjoy Spidey's return to the street level, the friendly neighborhood of Spider-Man, and not the big Avengers level stuff that we've seen him kind of do recently. This is where I like Spidey the best. This is where he shines the best. We get to see his humor and his heart and all that fun stuff, and his sense of responsibility and all really comes through best in these kind of smaller street level tales. And I really appreciated that when he goes and meets with Yelena, and she's, she keeps calling him small potatoes. You have small potatoes. We have big potatoes we take care of with the Avengers. You own these small potatoes. You very little potatoes. It was just really good. Excuse my Russian accent. I haven't done one in a while. But yes, I really dug that. I really appreciated that they kind of leaned into, yeah, Peter, you're going back down to street level. You've been kind of demoted to, bank robbers and petty thugs and street level villains again. I small potatoes. I appreciated that a little bit. And again, seeing her in there was a nice surprise. Nothing had leaked prior that I saw, so I wasn't expecting her at all. And I expected, it was one of the things I didn't, one of the things I didn't like about it, I actually expected more, because like the internet was making it sound like there was going to be all these cameos, and everything that was coming out was sounding like there's all these cameos coming. And I was just like, when it was all said and done, I was like, that's all we're getting? That's it? Nobody else? Okay. All right. Well, all right. So, let's see. I mean, you guys, I don't have to run through a play-by-play of this movie. You guys have seen all this stuff. I am going to just jump into my 5 things I liked and didn't like about it. I'm going to talk about them a little bit. So we're going to go there. And I will go back and forth, one of each, rather than piling on too much praise or piling on too much negativity. I'm going to keep it balanced. So I will do one on either side of the ledger. All right. So with the things I liked about Spider-Man Brand New Day, number 1, I liked, like I said, the back to street level roots. I liked that this was really in New York. I liked that New York was almost a character in the movie, it felt like, because, the backdrop of New York, him doing all these things in New York. I've worked in New York a ton of times, so I recognize some of the things that they were showing in there. Now, I know it wasn't actually filmed in New York for the most part, but they did a very good job of recreating New York in these things that they filmed overseas. And we can get into that in a totally different discussion about how they film all this stuff overseas now and have taken everything out of the United States for so many reasons. But yes, they made it feel like it had that New York feel, even though it wasn't actually New York. It had that New York City feel to it. And yeah, getting Spider-Man back, I feel like where he belongs, in the streets of New York, saving people, being the street level hero that he originally was and, historically has been. Yes, he will occasionally get called to the ranks of the Avengers to help out when there's threats that they need, backups and guy, the B-leaguers, the minor leaguers to come up and step in and fill a role here or there. And he's been a member of the Fantastic Four at times, and he's worked with these teams who handle bigger threats. But in my opinion, the best Spidey is always, especially the best solo Spidey, is always when he's just street level, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. That's the best version. So that was the number one thing that I liked best about this movie. It takes Peter Parker back to his street level roots and brings back the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Number one thing I didn't like about it was the runtime. It was way too long. 2 hours and 25 minutes. I know we have a lot to tackle here, but maybe cut down on some of either the fan service, which I would rather have the fan service, to be honest with you, or cut down on some of the generic storytelling, heartfelt storytelling that's going on with Peter getting back to the friends group and telling all these different stories, and also you put this red herring out there of a villain and all, and we'll get to that next because that's my next thing I didn't like, but I'm going to jump back to things I did like. But you did all these things. There was all these things going on, and you should have just pulled it in, reeled it in a little bit, and made it a little more focused, and definitely tightened up that runtime. Now, maybe when I see it in 4DX and my seat is throwing me all over the place like a 2 hour and 25 minute roller coaster ride, I will think differently. But sitting still in a chair for 2 hours and 25 minutes through all of what amounted to a ton of fan service, some really good action, some decent heartfelt stuff, but also a lot of generic, generic tropes and a poor attempt to misdirect us with the villain here. So there you go. All right. Second thing I really liked about this, man, the Frank Castle scenes. Every time John Bernthal is on the goddamn screen, it is amazing. The chemistry between Bernthal and Holland is great. I could literally watch team-up movies of these guys every day and never get tired of it. Their banter back and forth was great. And this isn't because I've worked with John Bernthal either, because if you're not familiar, I worked on Netflix The Punisher, and I got to teach John how to do a movie headbutt for the show. He got to headbutt me on the show, and I got to show him how to kind of do one and work with him on it. But yes, I love him. He's a great dude, super nice guy. It was a pleasure to work with, and I love seeing where he's taken this character. But man, this was just like reading a comic book when I'm watching the scenes with these two. When you watch you go read the comic book team-ups that have involved Spider-Man and the Punisher, the dynamic is exactly the same. They captured the dynamic so well between this grizzled old grumpy war veteran who sees nothing but the negative, and this like young kid who sees heroism as a responsibility and tries to stay upbeat, the quote-unquote friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It's just a great dynamic, and these two absolutely nail it on screen. So absolutely love that. The second thing that I didn't like about this one was the whole Jean Grey as the villain. I just didn't like this whole like red herring misdirect. Jean Grey is a quote unquote villain, but then later on we find out she's not actually the villain. There's a reason why she's doing what she's doing. And look, I enjoyed the body hopping thing. It reminded me of the old Denzel Washington movie, Fallen, the old horror movie, Fallen, about the demon that jumps from person to person. And Denzel's trying to catch him. He's a detective trying to catch this fucking supernatural entity that can jump from person to person. So it reminded me very much of that. But when you do things, and look, that's very un-Jean Grey. And if you want to say, look, she's young, this is before, there's no saying when this takes place. So if we want to say this takes place before she has run into Xavier, or is this a different universe where she's never met Xavier, fine. Maybe she's morally ambiguous enough to take over people's bodies without consent, something that the Jean Grey that we know that Charles Xavier raised and taught would never do, unless it was a villain and she had to, no other option, obviously. But we not only get her body hopping, but she does stuff like throw people in front of cars. Like, what the fuck? We're just killing people? I mean, it's the whole scene with her taking over Mary Jane's body. I knew it was coming too when he kissed MJ and she seemed to know what was going on. First of all, that is such a fucking diabolical, horrendous thing to do to a person in that situation, for her to take advantage of him mentally like that and use that memory and everything else and then just fucking turn on him like that and use it against him like that. Oh my God. It was soul crushing, number one, watching Pete go through it. Again, very depressing movie for a lot of this. It is really depressing for a lot of it. The whole story of his path back is very depressing, and this part of it really, and I'm like, man, I don't think she would do this. This is so evil. And then she just falls off the rooftop, just takes Mary Jane's body and drops it off the rooftop backwards. And I get it. She, expects Spider-Man to catch her. But man, again, diabolical. Having been in Peter's head and knowing all of his memories, she knows about Gwen Stacy. She knows that Gwen Stacy died like that. So she would do that? I mean, this is just, she is just so like manipulative. And this is somebody who's supposed to be a hero with the X-Men. And I'm supposed to believe when you reveal that it's Jean Grey, that our Jean Grey would do all that? It so took me out. And I had heard the spoiler from the musician on the red carpet, because it was all over the fucking internet. Oh, his favorite character was Jean, and then it was like, oh, but she's the villain, and he totally gave everything away. And when I heard, I was like, no, please don't let this be the case. And when it happened, I was just like, it's true. Oh, fuck. So then the story was, she's after her sister, and she needs, the whole VMAX thing. And look, the VMAX abbreviation for the vent and all that, where her sister died, nice touch. Appreciate that. But in the comics, she did have a sister, Sarah. Sarah never had powers. Sarah wasn't a mutant. Sarah didn't teach her or anything like that, didn't show her any of this stuff. If anybody was going to have showed her this stuff, it would have been like Emma Frost or somebody else who had powers, not necessarily the sister. And again, somebody like Emma Frost, I could have totally seen doing some of the things that Jean Grey did in this movie. But I think they just wanted to put a redhead actress in to play. They wanted this to kind of throw the red herring that this was the real MJ, maybe. I don't know. I don't know where all this, there was so much red herringing going on. So like halfway through we find out that, Jean's sister and yada yada and the whole thing. And look, I appreciated the stuff with Jean and Peter and the whole memories of Aunt May. That shit worked really well. I really love that stuff. And again, cast did great. Great seeing Marissa Tomei back as Aunt May, and that part that hit hard, and that was a really good heartfelt part. But you could have gotten there better, and you could have come out of that better. Like, man, like there's more questions. So I'm going to keep moving though. All right, number 3 thing I really liked about the movie, that opening montage of classic comic book covers and villains that they treated us to was outstanding. I'm kind of sad that it was only a short montage. And that's one of the things I didn't like about the movie. My number 3 thing, I'm trying to match these up in case you haven't noticed a pattern here. I really dug the opening montage. The characters look great. Tarantula, Boomerang, Tombstone. They all look fucking amazing. But they just went by so quick. It just all happened so quick in this opening montage. And I get it. It was like, you want to kind of show he's Spider-Man doing his thing. And it works. But man, it just would have been better to see a little bit more of each. Come on, give us a little more. At least Lonnie got to say a line. So yeah, he got one line in there, which was cool. So yes, love the opening montage. They did a great job with the costuming and the castings and really recreating the entire scenes from the covers of some classic Spider-Man comic books. I just wish there would have been more of it. So there you go. That's number 3 on both sides of the fence there. The opening montage was great, but too short. I would have taken more of that over and moved along a little quicker some of the cliche, tropey kind of depressing stuff we could have gotten through quicker. All right, number 4. The Hulk was the Hulk. We got the actual Hulk back. Not some fucking neutered version of the Hulk, nerfed version of the Hulk, engendered version, whatever you want to call it. I didn't watch She-Hulk. I was offended by what I saw in the trailers with him and him going to train her and her being like, oh, I'm angry. I'm controlling my anger all the time. You don't know what it's like. And just like that, she gets these powers after it took him years. I just didn't buy all that. I'm sorry. And it's nothing against women. It's not a men versus women thing. I just don't buy that being a woman automatically gives you the power to handle the power of the Hulk. You need to train. I'm sorry. It's just, Okay, anyway, moving on from that. This gave us the Hulk, man. And he was the fucking Hulk. Hulk smash Hulk. He was big, mean, just tearing through shit. And when he was fighting Spider-Man and just smashing through the building, it was just it was really, really intense. And it felt like raging Hulk is supposed to feel. And I'm not the biggest Hulk fan to begin with. I've taken years to control my anger. So maybe that's why, being a fiery Italian, I kind of look at the Hulk and be like, nah, I've learned to control that. You can too, Hulk. But this was good to see him get back to, the unsuppressed, raging Hulk that we know. So really enjoyed that one. Number 4 thing I didn't like about this one, again, falls to the writing. I spotted the real villain immediately. As soon as that guy from the Department of Damage Control shows up. Bill Metzger. As soon as Bill Metzger shows up in a suit and is super nice, I was like, this dude's the villain. He's the actual bad guy. This is what's happening. They're doing it. It's the suit. Now, I will give them a little bit of credit. They put a black guy in the suit this time instead of the token old white man. It's usually the old white man in the suit is the villain, and I get it. There's a lot of old white men in suits in real life who are, in fact, villainous. I totally get it. But I guess that was too much of a cliche for them to rely on once again. So instead, they put a black man in the suit this time so he could be the suited villain. But it was just so obvious. As soon as he stepped out, I was like, these guys are all up to no good. This dude is the head of the Department of No Good right here. And this is just so predictable. I know what's coming. I know what's coming. So, yes, that's it. Number 4, I spotted the real villain immediately as soon as he came on screen. All right, number 5, and this will be the final. I might throw some extras in. We'll see. But this is the last thing I have on the list. Number 5, excellent action, stunt work, and camera work. The choreo and finishers taken from the Insomniac games were a really great touch. Just some really creative stuff done with the fights, especially when Spider-Man's fighting the Hand, the whole group of them. There is really a lot of very creative use of webs and pulling himself around and using the momentum from webs and just very acrobatic stuff. And that goes for all the fight scenes, really. There was even some acrobatic stuff. I remember them doing some really cool wire work with Scorpion. And, the stunt team, from what I understand, was brought in. They were told, we want to incorporate this stuff, and they went to work. So yeah, a lot of these stunt performers, overseas guys over in UK, and looks like, they brought in Jackie Chan's stunt team to help design a lot of this action. So great job by the rigging team, great job by the stunt guys, great job incorporating the action from the video games in there. Really appreciated all that the hard work. And I know, Tom does a lot of stunts himself. That's part of the reason he got the part. He did parkour, and sent in one of his audition tapes, included him doing a bunch of parkour. So that was one of the things that helped him win the role of Spider-Man in the first place. So yeah, really great action set pieces, really great work by the stunt team, really creative fight choreography, and yeah, just outstanding action and stunt work. So hats off to the team there. All right, and then the fifth thing that I didn't like about the movie is just the generic, predictable writing. I mean, it was just, I get it. You have to go from one place that is really dark, and you have to take it to this hopeful ending. And it was just so, like, plotting in between, like, the action stuff. I just feel like, and again, we're writing characters out of character. We're putting Jean Grey as the villain and red herringing her, trying to misdirect us with this. Everybody who we know is a hero, but then she's doing stuff like throwing people into cars. Like, I just don't like that. That you could have written it better so it was more believable that was actually Jean Grey, and that I wouldn't have as many problems. Like, we don't need to be throwing people into cars. There's ways you could have gone around doing other stuff, and she didn't have to do that whole diabolical thing with the whole pretending to be Mary Jane and remember him like that. Yeah, I had big problems with that. Other stuff with the writing as well, like the ending felt very anticlimactic. I get that, they wanted to go a certain way and show Peter's heroism, and he gets shot by the Punisher, and and I get it. We created the classic Punisher carrying Peter in the hospital scene from the comic. I know, but wouldn't the cops be after the Punisher? I mean, wouldn't he be like, how is he still just sitting in Peter's room? And look, it was a funny scene at the end when he's like, I gotta wait for you to get out of here. And Pete sneaks out and he's doing in the window with the mask on and everything. Funny stuff. I appreciate it. It was very funny. I dug it. But I'm just scratching my head like, wait, he's like a wanted vigilante. Unless he got some kind of pardon from the detective that Peter was working with through this whole thing, helping to take it down. But he's just such a reckless, like, loose cannon. I just question whether that would actually happen either. So, yeah. And then the other thing I will say, I was very, which is, well, I didn't even stay for it. A very upcoming Avengers movie. It's seen where it was Ned's something to do with the upcoming Avengers movie, where it was Ned's spider tracker. I have questions about the spider tracker too. I mean, it's cute and all, but wouldn't his enemies just use that to find out where he is? Oh, Spider-Man's over in Queens, so we can go over to, Brooklyn and rob someplace. Or, oh, he's over on the east side, we can go over here and rob. The Spider Tracker says he's at this part of town. Now's the time for us to hit that jewelry store up on the whole other side of town while he's busy over there. I have questions about the Spider Tracker. And if all of his villains, his foes wanted to, like, gather up at some point and gang up and jump him somewhere, the Spider Tracker's telling him where he is. Oh, Spider-Man's just spotted here. Okay, guys, he's right around the corner. Let's go get him. Bam! And then they got him while he thinks he's swinging into a bank robbery, and there's 16 superpowered villains waiting to take him out because they just all use the Spider Tracker. I just, look, man, it's a fun. I've still had fun with the movie, but questions, so many questions. All right, I'm going to end it there on the generic rating note. But yeah, that after credit scene was, I left. I Googled it, saw that it didn't even involve an actor or anything. It was just something Spider-Man located in space. Ned's Spider Tracker really has range if it can fucking locate a Spider-Man in space. That's some crazy fucking range. But hey, Spider Tracker. Oh, all right. That's going to do it. On that note, Leave some comments. Let me know what you thought of Spider-Man Brand New Day. Again, I really did enjoy the movie overall. I just felt like it was really long and there was stuff put in there that didn't make a whole lot of sense, and some character stuff that didn't make a whole lot of sense, and some predictable stuff with the story. But the set pieces, action, stunts, themes of friendship and, loneliness and getting back to your tribe, I appreciated all that stuff. I just felt like the pacing was jagged and things could have moved quicker. And I'm just really still not a fan of the whole Jean Grey as the quote unquote villain, when as soon as we saw that dude with the suit, we knew it was him. All right, what do you think? Let me know your thoughts. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, ding the bell. Join us on Patreon and now on the Fang app as well. That's going to do it for now. Until next time, comic book fans, stay super.